YouTube. I never did a video yesterday, or I tried to do one, but it didn't pass my stringent quality controls, which showed you how bad it must have been. I was trying to do a video of my new Westone there that I've put a new pickup in, but I was having hell of a problem with the G string not staying in tune. I've sorted it now, basically by just working on the nut. So I've dug this out the box and fixed it. This never worked properly. It's funny how it's like, just because it's now a couple of years later, got a wee bit more experience in how to make a guitar work. I had a problem with the bridge. It wasn't giving you an even sound on the acoustic side, and I've now sorted it. It really was the most ridiculously simple solution. It was basically taking out the bridge, wrapping it in tape, and putting it back in again. Sorted. So this is my solution to the problem of having an acoustic on stage and an electric. I do have a couple of guitars that have got your piezo bridges in them, which do give you a sort of acoustic-y sound, but the problem with that is you really need to have acoustic strings for an acoustic guitar. So I think if you've got one of your, I've got one of the guitars got a Tunematic type bridge on it. They're not that expensive, maybe about 30 quid for like a piezo loaded Tunematic, which does sort of sound acoustic-y. If you put acoustic strings on your guitar though, and then you play it through a PA, it'll sound really like an acoustic because it basically is an acoustic, but you're not going to be doing that. You're going to be playing it with electric strings and you're going to be playing through an electric guitar amp, so it's never going to sound brilliant acoustic-y. So my solution to that was, you have an acoustic guitar with acoustic strings and an output that goes into, well, I don't have an acoustic amp, it's just plugged straight into the bass amp. I do have a pedal, one of your Zoom multi-effects, which is an acoustic pedal, which has got a preamp and acoustic simulators and stuff in it, which does make it sound much more like an acoustic, but this is just basic. So it's good. I'm using the loop pedal, so they're both plugged into the loop pedal and both plugged out. But so this is basically just it plugged straight into a bass amp. Yeah, so, and the electric guitar works fine. These strings are a couple of years old. I haven't yet decided what I'm going to do with this guitar. I don't know if I can really be bothered putting strings on it because it's not something I'll ever use. I don't think there was talk about maybe trying to use it in Cranking House. That was why I dug it out about 3 or 4 months ago, and it just sat. So the strings on it are ancient, rusty. It's quite thin. Oh, I could actually weigh it. It doesn't come in too bad. When I built this one, it's made out of a bit of thin kitchen worktop, like butcher's block, and then it's all hollowed out, so it's all hollow here. All this bit's hollow to try and keep the weight down. It's solid here beneath the pickups and the bridge, and then this is actually made out of my old bedroom door. Is it Sapelli it's called? So it's basically, I made the guitar, hollowed it out, stuck a door on the front and a door on the back. The acoustic is through strung like a Telecaster. So I shall weigh this and see what it comes in at. I can find a good point to put it on. I'm not going to take it. I can probably even lift this up without even. It's not wanting to hang on. Oh, put it there. Might make it hang. Sort of. Who'd have thought it would be so difficult? .86 kilograms. So, not a light instrument, but 4.6 is still within Les Pauls and stuff, I think. So is it normally I'm just now going with the amount of these that I've actually weighed, 3.6 being about normal. So it's not that much more than a normal guitar. It actually hangs pretty well. I kind of designed it to do so, though. It's like I'm patting myself in the back here. The second strap button goes on the bottom of the bottom neck, so well you can actually still get up to high end of the acoustic if you really wanted to. I wasn't really that bothered about getting really high fret access, so there's no cutaway here. I went for more for looks, but it's acoustic, you don't want to do that. I've got two outputs, one for the acoustic, one for the electric. The piezo pickup is what I didn't, well, there was reasons for it, but it's just a passive system. So it's not particularly loud if you've got it plugged into the same amp as you've got the guitar plugged into, the electric guitar plugged into. You'd really want some sort of preamp or some description, or just have it go into a second amp, which is what my thinking was anyway. The reason for that was thinness, because the bigger preamp boxes are much wider than this, so I wanted one that was full fit. So you've got a volume and a tone, passive volume and a tone, going straight out of there. The electric guitar has a volume, a tone, and a coil split switch, because that's a mini humbucker, not a mini humbucker, a dual rail humbucker, and that's kind of it in concept. This strap is digging into my back though for some reason. What's going on? Sort of feel it's somehow folded on me. No, I think it's just a crap strap. That'd be why it was sitting in the corner of my room, never used. So and it's thin line, if that makes any difference. Really thin neck on this electric. What I have noticed is you want to be able to turn off the electric guitar when you're playing the acoustic. So some sort of clever foot switching apparatus is really what you want, to be able to switch between acoustic and electric rather than having them both on, because obviously when you hit strings, you hit an open A in this, the open A in the electric is going to vibrate as well, which could be used for some sort of effects. Humbucker there. Actually getting a wee bit carried away there. It's actually working much better than I ever remember it working. I think just having the bridge pickup, this neck working properly has made all the difference. What I was having before was a lot of the strings were dropping out, whereas this one seems to be relatively it's certainly playable now. Before there was some of the strings just didn't sound and it was dead annoying. I think the B strings may be slightly quiet. But not noticeably so like it used to be. So I set the distance between the two necks being as close together as I thought I could possibly get them, and it's totally fine for, never annoyed me there at all. When you're trying to play bar chords up here, this does get in the way a wee bit, but I mean you can just rest your hand on it. It's not going anywhere. You can still do it, just that sometimes you... No, I'm actually touching the other neck there, but it's not an unusable thing. Certainly a fuck of a lot easier to play than those. I had it was a Chinese Gibson fake Chibson. There was like a double neck 12 string and 6 string, like the SG Jimmy Page one. And it was bloody awful. It was impossible to play. This is no hassle at all. I could maybe have it a little bit higher. I don't know. It's like, I've got it just now set for playing the acoustic. This is where I would normally have a guitar anyway. There's absolutely no alteration of anything to play this as an acoustic. The electric's just slightly low. It's a little bit slashed off McKagan, but not unplayably so. This neck was off a left-handed Telecaster I had a couple of years ago that I bought just purely for the neck, because for the idea of having the two tele headstocks. The headstocks don't actually match very well at all, but they're enough. They're enough. Ideally what I should probably do is take the two necks off and put the two headstocks together and then belt sand them so they're both exactly the same shape. But the other thing that annoys me as well is the fact that this has got a slightly different shade of rosewood to this one. This is a sort of more dark brownie. This is more of a sort of reddy brownie. But yeah, that's purely aesthetic. So you can hear that's sympathetic vibrations coming through. So we play an A minor there. It makes the acoustic ring. And I don't think the acoustic sounded bad either, considering I'm not actually using any proper equipment. That's just, I've not even touched the settings on that. That's just set up for when I was playing the bass last time I was playing the bass. So I think if you've got the volume down slightly, up loud, I don't think it sounds quite as good as if you got just roll back a wee bit. Maybe not overloading the front of the amp as much. So I think I might actually, after playing this for a fair amount of time, well, it's been 20 minutes now, which is the longest I think I've ever played this guitar, I can sort of see the point in it a little bit more. It's not that uncomfortable to play. It's a little bit heavier than a normal guitar. As I said, was it 4.5 kilograms instead of 3.5? So it's not the end of the world. Maybe I think if I just worked out some clever foot switchy system that turns off the electric neck when you're playing the acoustic, because you get a lot of that going on. So maybe just an on-off switch, or if I'm using my acoustic simulator pedal thing or the preamp pedal, I might be able to have that on the other side of the loop, so I can just use the one amp rather than having to use the bass amp. So that might be quite interesting. It'll have EQs and different sounds and stuff on it, so probably a bit more for an acoustic. So I was going to sell this, but I'm kind of now thinking, if I sold it, I bet you if I sold it, they would suddenly start doing a song in Cranking House where it was absolutely perfect for me having an acoustic and an electric. I kind of like the epic idea of it. I would really need to have 2 songs, I think, in the set that I used it for to make it worthwhile taking it out. But really just thinking about it more as a stage gimmick. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, who's ever seen a double neck thin line Telecaster, acoustic and electric? And the answer is I don't think anyone ever has. I've certainly never seen one apart from this one. I tell you, I keep meaning to. I've not done it yet, but I didn't actually paint the edges, so it's just bare wood. So I should really maybe go round and maybe not paint it, stain it or something like that. There's a few wee burn marks here which annoy me, and in here there's a couple of sort of blue pen marks where I was drawn round it to make it fit. But it's hollow here. This is all to do with my weight and balance. I didn't hollow out here because I've had experience with double necks before, and thinking if you've got more weight, if this is all solid, that's going to help balance it this way. And as I've been explaining, it hangs pretty much perfectly without any issues. And it's like, and even having the two necks, it just doesn't get in the way. I mean, even I find that one there actually quite easy to play as well. With double necks, I think this is a worthy addition to my double neck collection. That I'll maybe paint the headstocks or write MADMALKO on it or something just to finish this off. And I think I've got a set of acoustic strings there that I bought. I was fixing up my pal Brian's 2 acoustics, and I bought a 3-pack of strings, thinking I'll buy a pack for me, so at some point I'll put acoustic strings on something. It was going to be the resonator, but it might be this. Rock and roll. And what interesting things are you doing in your isolation? This is my. I've been meaning to get down to this for more than a year. I think if you look back, I probably did a video of this when I got it, when I built it, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. That's before I had the better camera and the better mic. So, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't 100% working. I kept getting really annoyed by the fact that the strings and the acoustic part weren't quite picking up. One of the faults is the acoustic side, because it doesn't have a preamp in it. I bet you I could put one in it somewhere. It's dead quiet, so you need to have some sort of boost pedal or have it plugged into a different amp to make it work. I went through the process of trying to work out whether I was going to try and make it one output and then splittable, but it's just, there's no use because acoustic sounds shit through an electric amp, especially when you've got like the fuzz pedal on and stuff like that, so you can't use that. So you have to hit a switch anyway to turn off the fuzz pedal, so you might as well just have a switch that switches between electric and acoustic instead. Maybe run them both into the 2 channels of the amp or something like that, or have one that goes through. Well, it's 2 channels, but it doesn't have 2 inputs. Don't know. Anyhow, rock and roll, and this is a double neck Telecaster acoustic, which, there you go, it does exist.